All right, here we go on chapter 3. First of all, averages. The first kind is the most famous type of average there is. That is where you just add up all of the numbers and divide by however many numbers you have. We're going to be calling that the mean. Its full name is arithmetic mean, but we're going to call that the mean throughout the semester. So for example, find the mean for this list of scores. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. So we just need to add them up and then divide by 6. So it's going to be a 127 divided by 6, or the mean is 21.167. Oh, throughout this class, please use 3 decimals. Next, there's a little bit of notation, and I went ahead and wrote it out by hand. The first one is sigma, that's from the Greek alphabet. So that's sigma, but in math we use it for sum or summation, adding things up. Individual scores are going to be represented by x. N is always going to be the sample size. And then there's 2 types of mean. There is x bar if it is the mean of a sample, and if it was the whole population, then we would be using mu. That again is a Greek letter. Mu is its name, and we use that for the mean of the whole population. Usually, we won't calculate the mu ourselves. Usually it would be some type of hypothetical situation, or perhaps it's census information, something like that. Next, the next kind of average is the median. So for this, all you have to do is put the numbers in order, and it's going to be the middle number. Well, we need to do 2 examples. First of all, here's these numbers. I need to put them in order. So there they are in order. There are some repeats. Oh, I guess the 3 is the only repeat, but that's okay. There's a couple of 3s. And then find the middle number. Well, with this, there are 4 numbers. So over here, there's 4 numbers to the left of the number 4. And there's 4 numbers over here, so the 4 is the middle one. So that's the median. It's 4. Now, what if I added one more number at the end? So what if you've got an even number of numbers? Then what happens? Well, first you have to put them in order, just like before. But then the middle is going to be right here, because here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. On this side we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So the middle is between 4 and 5. So then you have to average these 2 numbers. That is going to be a 4.5. So that's median. Next is a very simple one. The mode is the number that shows up the most. This would be useful in something like, let's say at the end of the semester, you're rating an instructor, and the form says, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, what would you give this instructor? So if the number 1 showed up a bunch, then that's something that people would want to know. If you were to find the average, it could be that just a few people saying 10 could then bring up the average, and so it looks like this person has a 5.0 for their rating. But most of the class gave them a 1. But the 1 doesn't count for very much numerically. Anyway, so that's one time the mode would be used, when things get repeated. So in this example, just what shows up the most? It's the number 3. And we need one more example, because what about this? So for the 3s, there are 1, 2, 3 3s, but then there's a 9 and 2 more 9s. So now there's 3 9s. So there's a tie, in which case it can have modes. So the 2 things that show up the most were the 3 and the 9. The next kind of average is called a mid-range. For this, all you do is take the very largest number, the smallest, and you average those 2. So for the mid-range, it's just going to be take the biggest number, 9, the smallest number, 3, average them, it's a 6. Both the mode and the mid-range aren't used very often, but we need to go over them nonetheless. Then onto what's called a weighted mean. So look at this situation. Right here is a table of grades that people got on a calculus test. So basically it's broken down to the A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's. Okay, so what was the average on the test? So with these 6 people, we know that they scored somewhere between 90 and 100, but we don't know what those 6 people got. Did all 6 of them get 90s? Did all 6 of them get 100s? What happened? We don't know. So we're not going to be able to find the exact mean, but we are going to be able to get a pretty good idea. The first thing we do is say, okay, in this, if they were somewhere between 90 and 100, then the middle or the average of that would be a 95. So let's say those 6 people got 95. So just put it in the middle, say all 6 of them got what's in the middle. That middle number is called the class mark. So that's what we need to do first. Find the class mark for each class. Wow, that was fast. So you just take each number, so over here an 80 and an 89, add them together, divide by 2, that's the mark. Now what we're going to do is multiply each one, the frequency and the mark. So basically we're saying we've got 6 people that each got 95 points. How many points is that in total? Well, you just multiply 6 people getting 95 points each, so multiply those. So then we've got the frequency times the mark over here. So just multiply 6 times 95, multiply 8 times 84.5, etc. Multiply across. Then we need the total of this. So basically, how many points did the whole class get? So we need to also add up the frequencies to figure out how many people were in the class. So there's 31 people in the class. Add the last column. On this test, all 31 people in total got 2,442.5 points. Well, if you divide those by 31 people, then that will give you the average per person. So the average is 78.79. And this is called a weighted mean because these are weights. So this weighs more than this. And so when you have 6 people doing this, it's going to be worth more than 6 people doing this.